All right, guys, welcome back to the Relentless Warrior podcast. I am super excited. Um, Initially, you may think it's a little indulgent. Tonight, I'm going to pull my son CJ from behind the screen where he produces our podcast, and we're going to have a conversation for you guys. But I think once you hear some of the things he has to say, you will recognize relatively quickly it's not indulgent. I learn from this kid every day. And so I'm really excited for you guys to be here. In our last episode, we talked about ourselves preparing for the world we face and how it is evolving and becoming much more divided. The darkness is taking its mask off in so many ways. We talked about how we should prepare for that. And so tonight we're going to have a conversation with my son as how his generation should prepare for that, but also how we as men should invest in and help prepare our sons to carry the mantle forward. In the last episode, we talked about praying that if there must be war, let it be in our time so that our children may have peace. But our sons are quickly becoming of age where they're no longer children, they're men alongside of us. And I can confidently say with 100% integrity that if I ever have to be in a foxhole again, CJ and Wyatt, but CJ, who you're going to talk to or hear from tonight, is a guy I would want in a foxhole with me, not because he's my son, but because I can rely upon him. And so I'm really excited for you guys to get to meet him, to get to hear from him, and I think it's going to be a unique angle for Apex and for the Relentless Warrior podcast. And so sit back, enjoy it. We welcome your comments. We got pretty thick skin, so I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say and your take on this conversation. Like I said, welcome to the Relentless Warrior podcast. One thing to keep in mind while we have this conversation is that CJ is the producer of our podcast. And so you'll notice the editing, just the overall recording might be a little more rough, might be a little bit more start and stop. You're going to see me look at my notes. It's just genuine because, again, I've pulled the producer from behind the screen to the front of the screen. So enjoy that part of it, right? I was going to say bear with us, but enjoy that part of it. You're going to get to really see just the real us. And so I hope that that's a part that you enjoy of this conversation. All right, CJ. So this one's exciting for me. Obviously, it's a proud moment as a dad.
Dude, I've been waiting since we started this thing to sit down with you. I'm like, man, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's going to be cool, right? So, not everybody who does something like this, I think, has a kid they can feel confident in a conversation like we're going to have and put it out there for the masses. So yeah, it's a good deal. So
I appreciate you saying that.
I think I know the answer to this first question, but it's going to set like kind of where I want us to start talking about you, your generation,
my beliefs within the generation,
yours, and kind of what you see, right? Kind of what you see happening. So,
I'm waiting to talk about that.
But what do you have a favorite movie and favorite movie quote, right?
Yes, I do.
What's your favorite? Who's the character who says your favorite movie?
The character is Tyler Durden.
Okay, I'm right.
Fight Club.
Okay, all right.
It's a great movie.
So lay the little mini monologue on us.
That shows how many times I've seen the movie.
100%, right? So let it go.
Man, I've seen in Fight Club the strongest and smartest who ever lived. I see all this potential, and I see squandering. Gosh dang it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves of white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy stuff we don't need. We were all raised on television to one day believe we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact, and we're very, very pissed off.
Good job. Good
I think
job.
that's it. I think that's it. I may have missed a line or two, but
Okay.
that's
So
basically it.
obviously that's cool, right?
Yeah, man.
But the content of that, right?
Can I add something before
Yeah,
we
of
go on?
course.
I think watching that movie with you was like one of the we've always like had good intellectual conversations,
Yeah.
but that was like one of the first like man, this was just a deep conversation between me and you because we finished that movie at like 12
Uh-huh.
and we stayed up till 3 talking just
Uh-huh.
about life and everything. So
Okay, so what did you pull from it? Like what did you not just the conversation, but
the deeper message
yeah, yeah.
that society as a whole is focused on the wrong stuff,
Stuff that doesn't matter, right?
especially America. Like we're a
Right.
generation and generations of just consumers. What can I get? What can I add to myself? But in reality, you're not adding anything to yourself. You're just
Mm,
I don't know, filling your life with meaningless things.
yeah.
So
So I I think you're absolutely right. I've been guilty of that as much as anybody.
sure, I have too.
Um, but now that some things have happened, and we'll get into kind of the details of things that have happened recently.
Yeah.
But um, tell me, talk to you know most of the people who are going to watch the this podcast on my channel are you know older guys my age
Sure, your generation.
who are learning or at some level of trying to be ready for the bottom to fall out of things, right?
Yeah.
Um, so just talk to us like what's it like? You're 17 right now. We just
Mhm.
got the notice in the mail for you to renew your driver's license and register for the draft,
Okay.
right? So what's it like? Um, you know, I know you, and I know that you've been focused on, developing yourself into a man for a while now. But
Thanks.
what's it like right now with everything that's going on? Kind of just, shortly, just what does it feel like coming of age
Mhm.
with everything that's going on right now?
It's a lot of I'm trying to think the right way to put this. There's a much shorter attention span for just meaningless things.
Right.
Like the values of like honor and courage and honoring your family, those are just gone.
Hmm.
Like I see very little of that. I see very little of like just what used to be like the normal right thing to do,
Hmm.
or there's a girl getting she's in trouble. Maybe her car's broke down,
Yeah.
or I don't know, maybe there's a dude, scrawny kid getting picked on, where the normal thing, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago would have been, help the girl with her car,
Hmm.
or
Stick up for the
stick
kid.
up for the kid who's getting picked on.
Right.
There's just nowadays I'm locked into my own world.
Uh-huh.
Like there's just shutting out of everyone else.
Right.
And there's outliers, and there are some people who will do like the bare minimum,
Right.
and there are those who are not like that norm. I
Sure.
guess there's outliers,
There's
but
always people who are
sure,
exceptions to the rule.
right, but there's the general consensus I see is like everyone is just so focused on themselves,
Uh,
and the result of that is just honestly, it's like crippling depression for most people.
no, that tracks and I think the people who watch this know that I was a high school principal for a long time,
Yeah,
and the way I summed it up was when what used to be like when I was in high school, something would go down, a fight would break out, or like one of
yeah,
those examples you mentioned. Our inclination was to step in and help. It felt like somewhere the inclination went from let's not do that, let's record it.
exactly.
Let's, you know what I mean?
People are trying to make their lives as interesting as they can, so other people think that they're of some status, right? Which goes
Yeah.
back to the whole Fight Club thing, where like Tyler Durden's, there's a scene he's talking about. He asks Jack what a duvet is,
Hmm.
and Jack, it's a blanket.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just a blanket.
Right.
But people chase in the movie. They're chasing furniture and
Stuff.
looks
Yeah.
and
Right.
status. It's the same thing nowadays. It's
Right.
just everything's digital.
Clicks and
How many people will think that my outfit looks good, or
uh,
how many people are interested in my training session, or
sure.
my whatever, and everyone's guilty of it. I'm guilty of it at some
Uh-huh.
points, but everyone's just like how many people can look at me and have a
Right.
positive
Gotcha.
view of me.
How can I curate my life
Yeah,
to
exactly.
make people have a certain perception of me?
Yes.
Okay.
Which leads to a lot of fakeness.
Sure, sure. So what do you think? What, man, that I don't think that's exclusive to the younger generation. I
No,
think
sure.
my generation has adopted many of those same traits,
Yeah.
right? But what are the strengths of your generation? Like, whether it's the guys on the football team, the people in your classes, whatever it is, what are the strengths that you see from your generation?
I think, you know, being good at putting yourself, on a trying to curate your life is
Mhm.
a two-sided coin because you also have it's easier to have an influence, right? You have that open door. My generation's good at like if you got a message, you can share it, and you got a whole bunch of people who will at least see it. You know, there's a little bit more of an open door to get a message out there,
Sure.
which most people just promote themselves or looks or whatever.
Right.
But there's an open door to it's really just being tech savvy, I think. But also,
No, but you can stand for something
right, you can
and
stand for
get the
something
message
and
out,
get the message out, right?
which is like that's what we're doing,
Exactly.
right? Like,
That's yeah.
I mean, you. So for those of you who don't know, CJ produces our podcasts, right?
Yes.
And so you know how tech illiterate I truly am.
Uh,
And so the idea of me starting a podcast would have never, like that would have never crossed my mind without some of those strengths. I'm with you. And I think you and I talk about, and your little brother has found some really positive examples of
yeah.
people who use this ability to communicate on a large scale.
Yeah, right.
Um,
And
well,
yeah, with those strengths is like, uh, people like when you're so self-absorbed, you also can learn new things that you're interested in. Well, I mean, faster. Like there are more dudes nowadays or girls or whatever who will know how to navigate their way to starting a podcast or
okay.
um maybe not well, but they there's more people that they set aside more time for themselves,
Yeah.
and so it's easier to just I don't know, find something that you like and
Mm,
just commit to that.
I got
And a
you.
lot of people choose
So
stupid things.
how do we, like, we're going to talk about like current events and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
How do you manage
Mm.
the like what you just mentioned? You have the time, you have information at your fingertips to investigate your interests and things like that. How do you hold that up to or balance that to helping you discover your purpose? Because it feels like a lot of people absolutely will do whatever. They'll chase the clicks, they'll and be very successful,
Sure.
right? Like they did it for the sake of doing it,
Yeah.
right? Versus for a cause, for a purpose, for things like that. So how do how are you navigating that as you're about to graduate?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, pick a school, all of these things, right? Or whatever, pick a next step, whatever that is. How do you navigate this? I've got this time to pursue my interests,
Mhm.
but I still
Yeah.
need to identify my purpose.
No, for sure. Talking about having the world at your fingertips with the phones and everything nowadays, I have this analogy, and it's not a great analogy, but I would see I see my phone as either a gun or a tool,
Mm.
or whatever you want to call it.
So, expand.
You can either take the gun
Mhm.
and just blast your head with a bunch of nonsense
Okay.
and drain yourself,
I got you.
or you can use it as a tool to for a purpose,
I got you.
to
Tracking.
learn valuable things,
Right.
to do valuable things, to create valuable things. And I know that's kind of an extreme analogy, but
No, but it's a great point, man.
because
So,
I mean, I think the problem with having the world at your fingertips is like all the all the information's ramped up, but all the temptations ramped up.
yeah, all the darkness is right there,
Exactly.
right?
So like it's easy.
mean,
It's super easy to fall into
Sure.
a number of things because
Of course, it's
right
it's a
here.
click away, right? And I've talked about it briefly on previous
Yeah,
podcasts,
you
but
mentioned your last
but
episode.
but I talk about it all the time in trainings and things like that. Once the algorithm,
Mm.
right? Once Zuckerberg knows you're a man and gauges your interest just a little bit, the ads that pop up, all of
Oh,
those
yeah.
things. Literally, just the other day, I was watching a video by a Christian content creator
Mhm.
on Facebook. It
Yeah.
had just come up in my stream, and the banner that popped up as the advertisement
Well, like
was
an underwear swimsuit?
worse, but
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Holy
Yeah.
smokes." And so, we gotta understand that I agree with you completely. The darkness is very much at your
Yeah.
fingertips, so there's a discipline that has to come
Right.
with that says, "Hey, I'm gonna choose righteousness. I'm gonna choose
Yeah,
the
right.
light," right?
Absolutely.
Which we all mess up, but it's but
Yeah.
it's it's a constant pursuit.
Right.
So go ahead.
I didn't exactly answer your initial question. When trying to, like, find your purpose, I find it best to get off the
Mhm,
screen as much as you can. Find a way to just kinda go quiet, go for a drive, for I like building fires, and I'll
mhm,
build a fire. Find a way that you can just kinda quiet your head,
yeah,
and then you can evaluate, like, the stuff you've been doing recently, the things you've been a part of, the stuff you've looked into, like, what's interesting?
yeah.
What do you value? What's something that you liked and that you can actually pursue? Um,
Talk to me about that.
sure.
Talk to me about the interviews you've been doing.
Yeah. So, a lot of the guys in I say our because
Mhm,
I'm blessed to have been accepted at in a group of men that are,
mhm,
older than I am, but,
mhm,
more just mature and experienced. I've interviewed just some different dudes that are I'd call them my friends too, that we've shot with, that we've trained
mhm,
with, Scott and Mike and
mhm,
a few other guys. But really just anyone that I know who has kind of made a life for themselves doing something that's not just sitting in a cubicle, right?
mhm.
That's my worst
That's the one
fear.
thing you don't wanna do, right? I
Absolutely
got
not.
you.
Gosh. So I've been, asking those guys, how did you get to where you are and what drives you to continue that? But also how do you get into
Yeah.
having a life that's like this?
So
Or
you're investigating,
yeah,
right?
sure.
Like, digging, that's great.
Yeah,
So
asking questions.
so you've been sitting here too, you're the producer. You've sat here with some pretty impressive
Oh
individuals,
yeah,
right?
it was
You
awesome to
know
see you and Clay speak.
right.
Yeah,
So talk about that. I mean, I know you're listening to Clay and Jocko's
yeah,
episode right now, right?
great
But
episode.
so what are some things you pulled from sitting over there with the headphones on while you've had some men sitting here who have some pretty amazing life
Yeah.
experiences. um you know what are some commonalities, what are some ideas that you've pulled from just
Yeah.
being in the room with those guys while they're telling their stories?
There's a lot of just the stories they tell and the experiences they've had. A lot of it can be seen as kind of, I guess, warnings for what I could look out for
Sure,
as I grow up.
I would hope so.
Um,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
uh, and a lot of commonalities I've seen. Just at some point or another, you'll be tested.
mhm,
You'll face adversity. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to learn from both having and listening to
mhm,
those kind of higher level conversations.
sure,
With men that I respect and that I'm lucky enough to call my friend or someone
mhm.
that I know or personally.
Well, no,
And
no, no, make no mistake, you don't have to qualify that.
no, yeah,
Those are the same men who you've trained with.
yeah,
Those are the men who you've shot with, who you've outshot, by the way.
like,
And many of them have expressed to you away from me that you have a seat at the table. So don't shy
okay,
away from that.
okay,
Like that's
yeah,
you earned a seat at the table with those
right.
guys. So what's the commonalities? What are the things you taking away that's like, okay, this is
From everyone I've talked to, and there's a different. It's not all at the same level, but there'll be tests and adversities, especially kind of the age that I'm at now. That's
mhm,
17 going into adulthood. It's gonna be a lot of adversity and tests, some more than others. I think Clay's been through more than most anyone I've
in some
met.
very real ways, of course, right?
Yes. I've had conversations with you. I know
Mhm,
you've had your share of
Sure.
experiences and stuff that I
Mhm.
can learn from, but a lot of things that are, I guess, warnings for what I could, expect over the
Mhm.
next few years. Things that that are opportunities for me to face adversity, to face challenges, but also, um, I guess, just a lot to learn from. There's a lot I really enjoy when we're out shooting, when we're
Mm.
training, when we're in a group. I don't mind not talking and just listening because
Mhm.
I'll always just be like, man, something new. So some guys talked about something. I'm like, man, I haven't thought about that before,
Yeah.
or man, I haven't thought about this thing this way before.
Yeah.
Um, but I really do enjoy listening, kind of the life story piece
Uh-huh.
from you, from Mike, from
Yeah.
Scott, from Clay,
Of course.
uh, because it kind of helps shape the how they are
Right.
today, who they are today,
Yeah.
which I know is, like, kinda cliche, like, "Well, what you went through made you who you
Mhm.
are today," like, everybody but it's true, like.
What I would say though is, and you tell me if you picked up on something different, but what I would say is, yes, everyone's gonna everyone, what you went through made you who you are. Your story made you who you are. Okay. But the reason those you talk to those guys is because they've been remarkably successful
Yeah,
in their different areas of life.
right.
And so what I would say is that it's the way those men and others choose to respond to the adversity.
Yes.
We can guarantee the one that we know, we will face adversity, will face
Right.
challenges. Um, but I've been impressed because you've chosen to spend time with and speak to men who have responded well to adversity.
Thanks.
Um, and out, when they come out the other side, and for some, me being maybe one of the largest examples, that was a very long journey.
Mhm.
But once they've come out the other side, they're much better for it.
Yeah.
And so, I would encourage you and any, anybody listening, any of your buddies who are listening or whatever,
Yeah.
allow yourself to learn those lessons
Mhm.
without having to make those mistakes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest tragedies that happened, it was really the baby boomer generation, I think, was where it started.
Mhm.
Was there was this idea that parents had, especially fathers, that they wanted their children to experience the exact same hardships that they experienced because those they came out of those experiences, and they said, "Well, I'm better for it, so I want my kids." Maybe it was the greatest generation. Maybe it was before the baby
Sure.
boomers. They wanted their kids to experience those same things. The problem with that is it's hard as a generationally to take a step forward
Right.
if we're going to stay on this same level.
But there is something to be said about that because it's a weird complex that I've kinda felt as I have these conversations with dudes, and I'm
Yeah.
hearing like, "Man, this dude's been through some rough
Sure.
stuff." There's a little bit of a, I don't know how to correctly say this, I'm just gonna say it, like, there's a little bit of a want to not be in that situation,
Mhm.
or whatever situation it is, but to go through something on par with how hard that is,
Mhm.
because I see it's kinda what credits the respectability of, like, man, he came through that
Sure.
and made him who he is
So
today.
it gives them some credibility,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
And
the way you
that's
phrased it a minute ago, you said, as you were speaking, you said, we have the opportunity to face adversity.
true.
Most people wouldn't phrase it that way. Most people say, I had to face adversity, or,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? But you're absolutely right. The opportunity to face hard things and
Mhm.
overcome them builds us,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That being said, those same traits you can consciously and intentionally work to build, right? That's why, like, that's what we talk about with the trainings that we do with Apex Training Systems or Apex MMA, is we can work to build that same resiliency
Mhm.
without having to whatever, like
Yeah.
me,
And that's a
fist fight my way from the bus stop to the trailer house. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And
I don't want that for
that's
you.
a really powerful skill that I'm still learning to have is
Sure.
to be able to learn those things without having to go through them.
Right.
is to be able to take the lessons
Mhm.
that other people have learned and apply them to myself without having to go through the exact same trial scenario, whatever.
Exactly.
Which is
Exactly.
it's not easy to do because there will never be that exact level of understanding of what that dude's experience was like.
Sure.
And so there's never a way to fully grasp it, but I mean, I believe you can get close. You know,
Yeah.
you can really try and put yourself in that dude's shoes and be like, man, yeah, I can understand
Sure.
from an outside perspective at least.
Sure. So yeah, just to sort of wrap this up, there's a reason God gave us an emotional intellect, right? An
Yeah,
emotional intelligence,
sure.
like a logical intelligence, is that emotional intelligence. You hear people talk all the time about empathy.
Yeah,
It's our ability to, within our mind, place ourselves in someone else's shoes and feel, at least to some degree, what they're feeling, right?
yeah,
That's absolutely true.
yeah, for sure.
The other side or the other benefit of being able to empathize well is you can put yourself intellectually into their situation and hopefully learn some of the lessons that they learned by going through those hardships,
Right.
right? Because you're going to have your own.
Yeah, of
Right? You're
course.
gonna have your own
It's gonna happen.
hardships. They're gonna be some of them will be unique to you, some of them will be common to many, but you're gonna have to walk through them. Um,
But if you can master learning lessons from other people, you just set yourself up better to build yourself as a man, as a person, as
yeah,
you know, whatever.
build some resiliency, right?
Yeah, right.
So with that, let's talk about that, right? You've
Okay.
you've obviously you've been in here, but I mean, you're around me, and
Mhm.
these are the things, I've been talking about too, but so, you know, Charlie Kirk's on everybody's mind still,
Yes.
right? That was a
I wanted
massive change.
him to.
Um, you know, Irina
Mhm.
on the subway, those types of things. I think one, you mentioned it.
Mhm.
Tragedies now
Yeah,
are immediately publicized to the whole world, so the impact is felt more, right? And
and it's
obviously, like Erica Kirk's response,
was tremendously, like, just respectable
amazing,
and it was
right?
amazing, yeah.
And has a profound impact because it's so widely viewed, right?
And it
So
speaks to a really good example of how, those who believe what we believe and kinda what she believes can healthily respond to
for sure,
evil.
for sure,
There's a
right?
threshold, but
100%.
but
So what does that how's that influence you as you prepare to enter adulthood, right?
yeah,
Um, like,
yeah.
it's a different world, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Like
I sent you a reel the other day that was like I don't know exactly what it said, but it's basically, the next generation, they're gonna face a world that's worse off than your own. I think
mhm,
it was saying there was a
right,
quote by somebody that my generation is the first generation to face a world that's worse off than yours was
correct,
at my
right,
age.
so exactly right.
Yeah,
And that tracks you go from the Great Depression,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then the people who lived through the Great Depression, their children are known as the greatest
Mhm.
generation
Yeah.
because of what they built, how hard they worked, and then the greatest generation did that. And then the baby boomers came, and they life financially,
Mhm.
you had this huge access
Yeah.
that was new, and life was easier and better, and all of those things.
Yep.
Then my generation, born 80s, 90s, 2000s,
Mhm.
not born in the 2000s, but growing through that time. We were able to learn those lessons from our grandparents who were the greatest generation, from our
Yeah.
parents who were baby boomers who had those advantages. And you're absolutely right. We have squandered as a generation,
Sure.
um, but it's not solely on us.
No,
I think
it's not solely us.
the adversary has ramped things up, right? Like the
Yes.
world has just gotten darker,
Absolutely.
right?
There's an evil present that seems to be acting, more fiercely now
Mhm.
than
Say more.
in previous years. Um, to answer your question that you initially asked, I love the way you said it to my uncle a few years ago, is that your son being me, uh, is a little bit more conservative than you said you were. You are.
Sure.
Um, I, that I don't know how true that is, but I tend to lean a certain way, but I think that's because it's just going into adulthood.
Mm,
There's a lot of things that just seems to be a clear right and a clear wrong. Like you talked about last episode, absolute truth. There are some
mhm,
things that are just absolutely that is wrong, and it baffles me how many people in my generation, in the millennial generation, um, that just can look at evil and be like, yeah, that's okay,
mhm,
and they'll find some BS reason to explain it or
mhm.
excuse it or whatever,
'Kay.
and I can't get down with that, and
So let's
so
talk about that.
I,
So
I
so
think as a result, I tend to be like, okay, that's evil, and there's a certain, I think the opposite side of the political spectrum aligns a lot with evil things. Not all people, of course, there's
right.
extremes, but that kind of pushes me to be like, okay, not all Republicans are right. Not all Republican values are right. There have been
Mhm.
people who've
Absolutely.
screwed things up, but I think at least from a biblical standpoint of absolute truth, there's a side that I'm more pushed to, and
Sure.
it's conservative because of the reasons I've stated, and so going into adulthood, I think that um, kind of sets me up better to just be like, this is like as I've grown up, I've just been pushed more to believe this way because evil is becoming more
Mhm.
observable
Yeah.
in my eyes.
Things
That's
aren't hidden,
no,
right?
no,
So let's talk about that.
yeah.
How does a guy your age in your generation process whether and I know Charlie Kirk was one of your favorites,
Oh, dude,
right? But
yeah.
but
It sucked. Like I was sad
sure. Well, of
because
course.
well, with these things nowadays, you feel like you kind of know somebody because you see him so much,
Yeah.
and it's like that dude got shot in the jugular in front of his wife and kids.
Mhm.
That sucks.
Mhm. That's
That's
heavy, right?
heartbreaking, dude.
So you process it that way,
Sure.
but then talk to me about how does your generation process the response? Both
Yeah.
the like, obviously, the outpouring of support and sadness and things like that
Sure.
was huge, and it was huge on social media, but obviously, we
There's the
talked about
opposite.
there's the opposite. There's thousands of people who were literally dancing and laughing and making jokes and things like that. Um, I shared a deal, with your mom today. One of a musician that she and I both really like posted some really nasty stuff
Heinous stuff.
the day that he died, right? So I know what that does to me, but, like, talk to me about, one, it's kinda your generation, the people who were posting both of those
Yep.
were you're a
Oh
member
yeah.
of that
Oh
generation,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So how does that track? Like
I want to hit. I believe all three sections of
mhm,
the political spectrum. I think I've seen it done. I've seen the reaction go the wrong way across, not
no,
across the
you're right.
board. I've
Yeah,
had conservative buddies, and I have a bunch of Republican friends. We live in Slato, America.
right.
Most people I know are somewhat conservative.
Sure.
React in the total wrong way. I mean, I had people message me about, "Man, we gotta kill all the liberals." I'm like, "Dude, no,
That's a
that's a terrible
that's a
idea."
crazy thing to say, right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "That's not at all the
Right.
response we should have," and that instant hatred of,
Mhm.
like, I can understand being infuriated by Tyler Robinson, by what he did, and by the response of the left, of course,
Sure.
but to have hatred for a group of people as a whole, I don't think that's cool,
No, of course not.
and especially not at the point that we're at.
Right,
To
how do
have
we
a
if we hate them? How do we reach them
you can't,
to try to,
you can't.
you know, engage in debate and conversation with them
Exactly.
and
You you
and
you can't. And so I think what you have to do is be able to, it's okay to hate the ideals and the beliefs
yeah,
and the responses, but as far as people go, you got to be able to sit down and have a conversation. That's what Charlie stood for.
yeah,
You got to be able to talk to the people you disagree with, and to, whether they end up agreeing with you or not, be able to have the dialogue,
sure.
right? Um, and so there's kind of that extreme
Yep.
lover, I guess lover of Charlie Kirk and support of Charlie Kirk. There's the extreme of like, let's
We
have a
want
civil war. Let's
revenge.
have a civil war.
Right, right,
I'm like,
silly. Yeah,
no,
right?
bad idea.
Sure.
Um, and then there's the left is obviously in support and dancing and
And not
celebrating.
everyone on the left.
And not, of course not.
Right.
There's extremes, but
there's
I do know
right.
some people that are like, dude, my best friend's brother is
Mhm.
a lot different than he is, but
Mhm.
he was posting all kinds of heinous stuff on the internet
Right.
about how it's a good thing, how he got what he deserved, and
Right.
whatever. I've had conversations with adults who have been in support of it, and maybe not support, but it will excuse what
Sure.
happened because,
Yep.
well, he said this thing, so he kind of had it coming or whatever. I'm
Right,
like,
right, right.
I absolutely cannot get down on any level with that
Of course not, yeah.
at all.
So
But
go ahead.
the last group that I have a problem with
Mhm.
is the group that just doesn't care
Mhm.
or that doesn't see it as a problem.
Mhm.
And with my generation, that group is enormous.
Alright, so that was what I was gonna ask. We've danced around the word. How do we
Mm.
how do you, 'cause it'll be your problem very soon,
Yeah.
how do we overcome how desensitized that large number in the middle, right?
Mhm.
They're super desensitized
Yes.
to violence, to just the darkness that is at their fingertips, right? So that when something like Charlie Kirk happens, but to me, worse
Yes.
because it's a female, because she was a refugee. She,
Elena.
yeah, Irina
Arena.
on
Sorry.
the like that video, and it's been taken down quickly, but it was out there for so long. But the desensitivity to that, right? Seeing a woman
The
murdered,
people sitting on the train who just didn't
didn't
do
move,
anything. Didn't do anything.
100%.
There's an enormous number of bystanders, and it's the same concept as the guy. It's the same person who's filming the fight at school.
Right.
It's the same person who watches a refugee girl get stabbed
Mm-hmm.
for bad motives
And of course.
and just watches.
Right.
It's the same person.
Yep.
And it's the exact same person who, when talking about this subject, is like, yeah, that sucks. And they just kind of move on.
And move on, right? So how do we combat that? How do we combat that level of apathy?
Yeah.
I think it comes because of the screens, really.
That was the first thing I was going to say. Is
We're desensitized
for starters,
to everything.
For starters, you got to get off these more.
We do, but how do we do that how do we encourage people who don't see anything wrong with being on their phone 8, 10, 12 hours a day, who are fully bought into the traps that you've talked about, like that your generation, my generation too now, but that your generation
it's largely
truly faces because it's been a problem your whole life.
Yeah. I think you got to hit it from two angles.
Okay.
And it's kind of what I try and do for myself, right? First off, you got to, for people that are, stuck on their phones or stuck to just apathy, you got to show them like the evilness there. Now, this is not exactly what I would do first.
Okay.
Let me say this in order. First, I would try and live in a life that shows off the great things of not being apathetic. So if you're being on your phone, for example, live a life that's adventurous and that you find true joy in whatever it is. I love exploring with my friends and going on, side quests is what we call them.
Love it.
Just going and getting lost. I mean, I've driven a gravel rock pile at 11:30 at night and played King of the Hill with my idiot friend for
go have fun.
an hour. Go have fun.
Right.
Just living life.
Right.
I like it's kind of one of my lesser things that I do. I like cooking. It's fun. It's cool because I think the opposite of that is hitting a button on your phone and getting DoorDash and eating whatever. The opposite of going out and having adventures and exploring and discovering things and going having fun with your friends, the opposite of that is just staying inside on your phone.
So it's so funny to me because what you're talking about, like I am the last group.
It's the way other people
That's
used to
it's
live.
how we
It's
grew
just
up,
normal.
right? It was
Yeah.
go outside and play was not a punishment.
No.
It was, our parents were having to rein us in to get us to come in ever,
Exactly.
right? And your mom even more so, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like her
absolutely.
and your uncle, when they were young, little, exploring in the woods all day and
Absolutely.
stuff like
Out in
that.
East Texas, yeah.
Now it feels as though many people have to
Be distracted.
force their kids to get outside, force.
It's the whole iPad kid complex.
Okay.
Parents would rather, not all,
Of course not.
a majority of parents would rather give their kid a distraction so that they just shut up and the
Mhm.
parents can do their own thing, rather than show them how to have fun,
Right.
how to be kids,
Yeah.
go climb trees, go, get
Whatever it is.
scarred up or
Right.
whatever. They don't want to show them that because that takes too much effort. They're just going to give them an iPad and be like, okay, just, watch this and we're going to monitor what you watch so you don't end up totally stupid.
Right.
That's wrong, dude.
Sure.
And it's weird because as I've gotten older, I've kind of realized the importance of just going and having fun, man.
Mhm.
Like, I love my friend for this. He'll video everything. And so, when a lot of my friends have moved away to other places. And so we've got all this, videos of us going on adventures.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm really glad we did that. I'm really glad we went and found that rope swing by the river,
Right,
went
right.
and had that fight out on the rocks, or,
Whatever, yeah.
went and climbed a random mountain.
Mhm.
Definitely didn't trespass to do that. But,
Yeah.
um, like, I'm glad we filmed all that because it shows me, I'm like, man, that was important.
It was valuable.
It was valuable.
Yeah.
It was fun. And
Mhm.
every time I think it releases more. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I think there's more serotonin and dopamine
Mhm.
when you go out there because I think it's joyful.
Mhm.
It's really easy to just get little spikes of dopamine and be
Mhm.
happy on your phone
Sure.
or playing games or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with
Sure, no. All
being on your
things in
phone or playing games
moderation,
or
right?
whatever,
Yeah, I
right?
got you.
It's just moderation.
Right.
But I think true joy is being in God's creation.
Yeah.
I love being outdoors. I mean, I do.
Mhm.
I love driving my truck and, hopefully something a little faster one day. But but I think that if you want people to be get away from being apathetic, you got to show them that you got to show them that there's a life outside of the screen.
Okay.
That there's adventure and there's joy.
So you've mentioned it a few times. You've gotta show them. You've gotta relay a message, right?
Sure. How?
Not how. I would say not many people.
Hmm.
Let me say it this way. I'm sure there's millions of people in your generation who would love to be an influencer,
Mm.
but I think there's very few, and maybe I'm wrong. I do tend to be pessimistic sometimes, right?
That's not a
I
bad
think
trait.
there's very few who want to have influence.
Yeah.
Those are two very different things now.
Mhm. They want to live the influencer lifestyle without
Right.
having to have all the influence.
Sure.
Well, to show them, like you were saying, that there's a life that's just
Mhm.
abundant with adventure and whatever.
Mhm.
You got to really be okay being who you are, and being okay being a little bit radical in some areas.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, you don't have to dress the same as everyone else. You don't have to
Right.
talk the same as everyone else. And people notice that, especially in
Mhm.
my generation, because a lot of people do just kind of follow in the crowd.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
so typically, the more of I guess you could say outsider, but the more true to your, I don't like that term. I guess true to yourself.
Mhm.
That term is abused.
Sure, yeah.
I believe being true to yourself is weaponized, and that term is whatever. But in reality,
Right. It's
you
been used now as an excuse to do
to do heinous acts
right and just say this is who I am and
yes,
so it's right
exactly.
for me.
But truly being to yourself,
Mhm.
knowing what you like, what you don't like, what are your actual interests, being okay, being like, this is me, this is what I like, this is what I
Yeah.
do. people will notice that because most people don't do that.
Yeah,
They hide their likes and their dislikes, or even worse, they'll change what they like and what
right,
they dislike
in order
because
to
of what
fit
the
in
group
or
thinks.
something,
Yeah,
right, yeah, it's that
and it's
herd
common
mentality.
being in high school or
Of
whatever.
course.
But if you can master or learn the art of um,
Being yourself.
being yourself, then people tend to notice.
No, I agree.
And I think
So
that's when they're like, That guy's different. Guy's
okay,
interesting."
so let's talk about that. So we
Which also,
recently had a conversation, right, about, um we recently had a conversation where you had certain family members tell you that in the next phase of life, you were talking college,
Yep.
in the next phase of life, never go to a party. Never be in a social setting where your friends, your colleagues, those around your cohort of people are drinking. Never go to a club. Don't ever do it because nothing ever
can
good
I share my honest opinion?
can come. Well, that's what I'm asking for. Where'd you land on that?
It's ridiculous.
How so? Why so?
If you don't have the self control to make your own decisions when you're in a group of people,
Right.
then you've got to get that down. You've got to learn to think for yourself.
Right.
Got to learn to think for yourself. And in that case, for the dude who can't go to a party and say no to a drink or whatever, there's certain steps you can take.
Yeah. Right. Help them out. Right.
Maybe don't go to every party.
Maybe that environment's not the best for
Exactly.
them.
But if you have strong values and morals and can think for yourself, I see zero problem going to a party, going to a club,
Yeah.
whatever. Because what are the bad things at a party or club? Drinking, smoking, hooking up.
Yeah. Right.
You don't have to do any of those things there.
Right.
You can go, you can listen to music, hang out with your friends, have a good time, take
Dance with a
pictures,
girl.
dance with a girl,
Right.
and then leave.
Right.
What about that's wrong?
I don't think
Nothing.
anything.
There's
Right.
nothing. I don't see anything wrong with that.
So I like that. I like that answer a whole lot. Right.
Sure.
I think a lot of people who share that view of you don't go there ever, don't go to a party, don't go to a club, blah, 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 is because it comes from a motive, a basis of fear where they were afraid that if they went to a club at the time, they would have made those poor decisions.
Yes.
Or maybe they did do that
Right.
and learned lessons that they didn't want to learn, right?
Mhm.
And so it comes from a place of them fearing that you go off to college and you go to a party, it's inevitable that you'll make those bad decisions, right?
Which in reality, none of that is inevitable.
Right.
But I think the thing is, if you're that person who tends to tell people, whether it be kids or relatives or people you know, that going to a party is absolutely bad and everything's crap, you've got to be able to realize within yourself, like, okay, maybe that's how it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I that was those temptations. I
Sure.
couldn't be there. Fine,
Yeah.
but also realize that the person you're talking to has hopefully been raised well.
Mm-hmm.
If they're your kid, trust that you've raised them well.
Yeah, right.
And don't be afraid to let them make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because how else are they going to learn or grow
Right.
if they can't make a mistake?
And we understand there are some mistakes that have really
Real
severe
bad
consequences,
Absolutely.
and that's okay.
And I think for those, you have to have a real serious discussion with that person about
yeah,
like this.
on the front end, hey,
Yeah, exactly.
So I agree with you completely, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And this
I
is
would take it a step further, right? You mentioned, and that's why I asked you this question. You mentioned how to live your life so that you have influence.
Yeah.
Well, if you remove yourself from all of the places that people who may benefit from that influence are,
you have no influence.
what you've done, in my opinion, is you've cut yourself off
Mhm.
from having influence. You can still live that exact same
You cut
life.
yourself off from having influence for the people that it matters.
Yeah, exactly right.
You can have all the influence you want with the people that think and act the exact same way with you, but that's not an influence.
Mm-hmm.
That's just being a part of that group.
Right.
The real trick, and I think this is what we're called to do as Christians, is to be able to strengthen your faith, strengthen your values and your morals so that you can go into places where there's sin all around you.
Mhm.
And you don't have to be the street preacher
Right.
telling everybody they're wrong.
Right.
Just go and be you.
Be you there.
Evangelize through friendship, through example. That was something our pastor said a few weeks ago.
Love it.
You got to be able to just if you say no to the drink.
Yeah.
And everyone there will be like, the heck?
Mhm.
Why?
Mhm.
And then don't be weird about it.
It's not my thing.
Just, not my thing.
Yep.
Don't be like, oh, I don't believe in that. Oh, you guys are stupid. Because then that pushes people away.
100%.
But it also pushes people away when you just refuse to be around them because of the decisions they make.
Sure.
Like,
so, man, so I'll tell you a story from my younger days that
Please.
hits exactly on what you're talking about.
Please do.
The idea, because you're right. You don't want to be preachy at them.
No, of course.
Right. You don't want to be like, guys, you guys are way wrong.
No
whatever.
one listens to that guy.
I'm not gonna listen to that anyways.
Yeah.
Right. You're there. You're making your choices. You're being you. Hopefully, the young lady you're with, has some similar values, and you guys are there participating, having a good time, doing your thing. And people just see that, and they understand that it's different.
Yeah.
Right. The opposite of that is when those people who oh, you went to a party, like that's terrible, right? Or
Yep.
they're judging you, right?
Yes.
They're the Christians who are sitting on the sidelines judging you, and they're probably doing similar things. They're just hiding it better, right?
And that's the biggest problem I have with the modern church.
Say it again.
That is the
Tell me more.
The holier than thou mentality,
Mhm.
which is most times not intentional, is the biggest problem I have with the American church, modern church, whatever.
Why so?
Because it's the opposite of what Jesus would do, in my opinion. I have seen teachers, pastors, youth group leaders, friends, I don't know, relatives who have the mentality of, because I'm a Christian, I'm different than everyone else. Which, in some aspects, is true.
We make different choices.
We make different choices.
But
in God's eyes, we are all equally just as sinful.
100%.
And so to think that the guy that makes all the wrong decisions is someone you shouldn't be around because you don't make those decisions is BS.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous because you will not go forth and make disciples that way.
Right.
Okay?
How do you help that guy?
That's the reason that I've chosen to not go to some youth groups, churches, whatever. And we go to church as a family, right? I feel that there's a large mentality of, if you come in dressed a certain way, you will be essentially shunned by the church. And not in a aggressive way, but in a passive aggressive way.
Sure.
I believe.
Yeah.
No one who is truly very sinful will ever want to go to that church, because they'll just feel like an outcast the entire time.
Right.
There'll be people say, "Hey, good morning, glad you're here," but they'll be catching eyes, they'll be catching strays, which is a term for
I'm not that old.
They won't come back.
Yeah.
And the same thing with youth ministries and groups. Had leaders within the FCA, which I'm a leader on the FCA, organization, whatever. A lot of kids, a lot of the other leaders have the opinion that we need to talk to the non-Christians. We need to, be careful hanging out with the non-Christians. They talked about the whole party thing. Well, we're the people that, we don't go to parties and stuff. Almost that exact sentence has been stated multiple times.
We're the people who don't go to parties.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a huge problem. It frustrates the fire out of me to go to a church setting where the opinion is there's us and them, and we should be careful around them. I'm like, that is absolutely wrong.
It's the opposite.
Jesus ate and sat with tax collectors and prostitutes.
Right.
Prostitutes.
Yep.
We're talking about parties.
Yeah.
Normal people we go to class with.
Yeah, right.
I'm not talking about prostitutes.
Right.
But Jesus sat and ate with prostitutes.
Right.
He didn't make those same decisions.
But
he sat and ate with them, became friends with them, and some of his disciples were some of them.
I was going to say, and through that friendship,
he was able to save them, evangelize
He's
them.
Jesus. He
He's
was able to
Jesus.
save them,
Yeah,
right?
he's able to save them.
But through that, yeah, exactly. Through that friendship, he was able to have influence that he never would have
Exactly.
had he not
Been okay going
sought
in the
them
room
out,
with them.
right?
Yes.
And so you know, I I think the mentality that you mentioned was born from again primarily born from fear, and then it was born from the idea like, hey, you don't just live willy-nilly and go and not think through your choices, right?
Right.
You know, like you're not going to ever hear me encourage you to go hang out at a strip club. You know what I mean? Because there are some environments where there's really nothing positive happening,
Right.
right? But
A strip club and a party are very different.
100%, right? But what I'm saying is I think it's very wise of you to have that approach because some of the best people I know I met in those environments, right? At at now you're more mature, more spiritually mature, more attuned with God's will for your life than I was when I was 17.
Okay.
But
Uh,
what I will say is 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 you know the person who I call my brother,
Uncle Shane.
right, has made comments to me that are very affirming to me.
Yes.
Because
For this belief in particular.
for this idea that hey man, we can go to the club, we can go to a party, we can go and hang out, and I'm still me, and we may go out on Saturday night, and I'm still gonna be me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk how I talk. I'm going to laugh at the things I laugh at. I'm gonna dance with a pretty girl if I can. And Sunday morning, I'm gonna wake up with a clear conscience, and I'm gonna go to church.
Yeah.
And and your uncle said to me, and I don't think he would mind me saying this. He was like, "That's why I go to church now." He was like, "The reason I have a relationship with God is because you were the first person who showed me there's a way to be normal, have fun,
Yeah.
socialize. I don't have to judge everybody. I don't have to feel judged by everybody. I make the choice I should make, but I'm there. I'm having a good time, and I'm not judged just for being there." So the story I was going to tell you is so I went to work for Budweiser.
Yep.
You know
I've
this,
heard this story.
right? Me and Uncle Shannon, we worked for Budweiser, and our job was to take Bud girls out Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights, and make sure that the drunken like people who are losing their mind aren't overly handsy with
Sure.
the Bud girls, right?
Just watch out for the girls.
Right now, there will be people who will always argue that like our job was ultimately to sell beer, right? There will be people who will always tell me I was a sinner for doing. I was terrible for doing that. Okay, whatever. You get to have that opinion. I'm good.
Sure.
But what I'll say is one, working in those environments, Shannon and I were able to do a whole lot of good for a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
On really bad nights in their life, right? And we walked in on things, and we were able to be there and intercede, step in,
Yeah.
and help people turn some bad choices around. And I mean, there's too many stories to tell, but we were able to do a lot of good.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, probably the most impactful thing and most impactful memory I have from my time working for Budweiser is we were living in Amarillo, right? I was a young man. There was Amarillo has a parade,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And so Budweiser, we were in the parade. It's a Saturday morning at like 11 a.m. And we're in the parade. Shannon and I are, again, we're there just looking out for the girls who are in pretty dresses and throwing out candy and stuff like that, waving
Yeah,
at little
right.
kids and stuff like that.
Sure.
There was a couple that I had gone to church with my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
They were remarkably close to my mom and dad. They cared for me. There was a time my dad was working and your grandmother, my mom, spent several days in the hospital. I stayed with this couple as a kid.
Yeah.
And all of these churches, organizations, businesses, Budweiser, everybody has a parade. We're coming down the road, and I'll never forget it. That couple saw it was the Budweiser float coming down the parade,
Mhm.
and then they both saw me, and me, I was, I'm so what was I? I was 22 or something.
Mm.
I wave at them, happy to see them,
Yeah, it's
and
like,
I'll
"Hey, it's
never
good to see you."
forget. They looked at me with this look of horror, and they were older-ish at this time. They both stood up and turned their back while our float crossed, and I'm like, "Okay, that feels weird. Surely that's not
Not
what
even,
they're
like, get up
doing."
and leave.
No, they just stood up and turned their back, and I'm like, maybe they're talking to somebody behind. Like, I watched them the whole time. I watched them, and they watched. As soon as we passed, they turned around and sat down, and I was like, "Whoa." And again, I believe those people still do care about me,
Sure.
but
But
because
maybe they care about you because maybe some of their perception is like,
what I think is because I was making a choice that they didn't agree with, they wanted me to know they're shunning me
yeah.
rather than showing some kind of love, grace, mercy, whatever. Literally, that man, the man in that family, he could have given me a phone call and been like, "Hey, man, let's talk," and I would have listened to him. He had
Sure.
influence on me.
Yeah.
But when that happened, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's who you are." Right? And so now I was experiencing that from the other. Now again, I was a Christian. I was I was a
You're
good
still
guy.
you. You're
I
still making the
wasn't out
decisions you
making
make.
stupid decisions or anything like that. Did I make mistakes? Sure, but I wasn't out losing my mind.
Yeah.
I was right with God.
I think
But
too
what I
many
remember
people.
from that was,
Yeah.
whoa, like shunning someone because they make a bad choice.
Is the exact same mindset of the Pharisees when Jesus was alive.
Right. And it's antithetical to Jesus's message. It's the
Exactly.
exact opposite.
Jesus came to.
What would he say? The healthy don't need a doctor,
Exactly.
right? It's the
No.
sick that need a doctor.
And when it came to those who did shun people who made mistakes or was just in an environment that whatever we've
Yeah,
covered it.
they disagree, right?
Jesus went into those people's temples and courts,
Mm-hmm.
flipping tables,
Mm-hmm.
calling them out on all their sin,
Yep.
not being like, "Hey, I'm part of y'all's group, but now I go here."
Yeah.
He came to destroy that mentality completely.
Sure.
And I think there's a lot of churches and people nowadays that are swinging back to that legalistic mindset of
Mm-hmm.
Christianity is a set of rules. No, it's not.
Mhm.
Christianity is a relationship
Mhm.
between you and Jesus. And the mindset of people being afraid to make a mistake,
So,
people who hmm, people who shun others because they disagree with the decisions they're making or because they've made a mistake,
right.
right? Those are the people that Jesus came to call out
Yeah.
and he came to destroy that mentality because
Right.
Christianity is not a set of rules, which I think the church is swinging back to today.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many churches and so many just people that believe that Christianity is a set of legalistic rules. It's not. It's a
Mhm.
relationship between you and Christ.
Right.
And the mindset, people who are afraid to make a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
they're just living in fear all the time.
Right.
And I'm guilty of that.
Sure.
I've I've been scared to just make a mistake, and I've got to remind myself, I'm like, dude, that's not what faith is at all.
Mm-hmm.
Go, live, make disciples, follow Christ as best you can. You will fail.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do, come running back to the Father.
Yeah. Try to do better.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's okay for others to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And we're called to go and have an influence on the people who are actively making poor decisions.
Right.
To not shun those
Right.
who are in your position,
Right.
living your life,
Yeah.
not making those, stupid decisions. But it's what the Pharisees did, bro.
Yep.
It's not what we're called to do.
Agreed. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit, right? We've established the foundation of faith
Right.
as sort of driving as the driving factor for our integrity, our strength, our ethos, things like that, right?
Right.
You've been a part of almost all of the Apex training system trainings.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You've also done the long gun training as well as the handgun training with
Yeah,
Clay,
it's
all of those things, right? You've done the CQB. You were the youngest guy there by 20 years or maybe more.
same.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. We
So,
had one.
youngest
So
by about 10
you're
years.
right. So, um,
But besides me and him,
right.
at least
It
20
was
years.
it was
Yeah.
my guys, right? So you've done a lot of training. MMA, nursing an injury, we understand that,
Right.
but for an
Hoping to really dive in
really get there strong,
on
right?
the same timeline that Apex is
Sure, right.
working on their
So
MMA
so
courses.
one,
Mm.
why first let's start there. Why is that important to you? Why have you chosen to participate in all of those trainings to the level that you have and
Okay. Yeah.
become pretty proficient, you know?
Yeah. All right. So let's start with MMA, right?
Mhm,
I've disappointed myself. I've done a poor job growing up valuing the skills of knowing how to truly fight.
mhm,
I can throw a punch,
mhm,
but not
okay.
much past that, right? Um, that needs to be something that's more valued in my
Why?
life. First, first off, for me, it's not just another sport,
Mhm,
right? It's so that I can fight, I can defend myself, I can defend others if need be. You firstly, I want to learn to fight, so if a fight happens on the street, I can handle it
mhm,
myself,
mhm,
right? But um, also help others, right?
mhm,
Being physically capable in regards to fighting and
mhm,
being able to fight is, as a man, not as a boy, as a
mhm,
man, is vital. You got to know how to take care
mm.
of business, right?
It's important to be dangerous.
It's important to be dangerous,
Yeah,
controlled but dangerous,
right.
right? Second thing is I like violent sports.
Okay,
Football's been my thing
of
since I was
course.
like, I don't know,
Mhm,
4, 6,
mhm,
whatever. Um, and so that aspect of like, hey, it's a battle. It's a little fight
mhm,
to be competitive. I'm
mhm,
also competitive. It's kind of
right,
merging those things together, right?
right,
Is really appealing to me, right?
right,
Especially coming off injury. I can't play this year.
right.
Football
Sure,
sucks. Naturally, what's next? MMA.
sure,
I can do that as soon as I'm, whatever.
right.
Uh, that's kind of the second thing. First off, you got to be dangerous. I'm going to learn to be more. That's kind of to answer your overall question, all the Apex stuff.
Mhm,
I want to learn to be as dangerous as I can
okay,
so that I can control it. Because
I like it.
if I'm not dangerous and I'm controlled, I'm not controlled. I'm just not dangerous.
You're just weak.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
But if I can be dangerous but controlled, that's great. That's what I mean. You had a few episodes back. You talked about Jordan
mhm,
Peterson's
right,
claim on being a dangerous man, right?
sure.
Um, so that's MMA, right? I want to be dangerous. I want to be able to take care of business,
Yeah,
but also it's competitive and teaches me a lot of valuable things, right?
mhm,
Um, as far as the other parts of training,
mhm,
right? The firearms training, combat readiness, whatever.
mhm,
I think that's important because I think two reasons. One, in this age, I think there's an increasing threat level of just evil, right?
sure.
I think violent situations
Mhm,
are becoming more prominent,
mhm,
right? So being ready for those is not a bad thing,
100%.
especially if something major were to
Of
happen,
course.
right? Um, but also just being dangerous, right?
Mhm,
Being capable of firing a gun, knowing how to
mhm,
fire a gun, knowing how
mhm,
to use a gun, knowing how to carry a gun.
mhm,
Um, so that if you ever, God forbid, are in a bad situation, you can again handle business,
right,
right? Uh, and with that, it's much easier to help others
right,
as well, right? One day I want to have a family, right?
right.
That comes with knowing how to use a gun.
It comes with an undeniable responsibility to protect that family.
Exactly.
And, I've mentioned it past here, but maybe not in this way.
Mm.
God needs Joshua's just as badly as he needs Paul's and John's.
Mhm.
And for those
He needs
people who don't
Samson's too.
right, who don't know, Bible stories, right?
Right.
Joshua was basically a war general when war was fought in remarkably violent ways.
Mm.
You know, I did mention it in the last episode where David killed a lion and a bear,
Right.
just doing his job for the family. He's taking care of sheep,
Yeah, of course.
and I believe by divine appointment, he had interactions where he had to use his slingshot and his physical prowess to protect the sheep by killing a lion and killing a bear, right? So because I believe those interactions prepared him
Mhm.
for his Goliath,
Yeah.
right? And so I do think you're right. The possibility that we will face a remarkably tumultuous future here in the United States
Right.
becomes more and more likely every day,
Yeah. I
right?
To add to that, I kinda love the way you have it tattooed on your arm, right? This is Psalms 144:1.
Mhm.
You know it better than
Bless
I
the
do.
Lord, O my
Bless the
soul, who
Lord,
prepares my
my
hands
hands
for
for battle
battle
and my
and
fingers
my
for
fingers
war.
for war.
Right. Great way to put it,
Mhm.
right? I love the story of Samson,
Mhm.
mainly because Samson was a
A
beast.
dude,
Dude
right?
killed 1,000 enemies with, like, the jaw of
Donkey,
a donkey.
right?
Yes.
So that's
That's insane,
dude. Yeah,
right?
right.
Um, but he was also, like, one of he's one of God's examples in the Bible, right?
Mhm.
He's righteous, right? And
Mhm.
then and I love the whole story because he resists temptation a bunch,
And then he didn't.
and then he didn't. He
Right.
made that mistake, and he paid for it, right?
Dearly.
But
So let's talk about
he
that. You brought it up.
okay,
You're
yeah.
right. So Samson's a man's man,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Um,
But then it's
he's
tempted.
also a great example
Mm,
of, and this is important for young men,
yeah,
of how important it is as you become into adulthood and you're going to choose a woman to spend your life with,
yes.
how vital that decision
Oh,
is,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
My best friend says it's probably the most important decision other than choosing to follow Christ. It's the most important decision you'll make
I would agree.
is who you choose for your wife, who you choose to spend your whole life with.
Yep.
And Samson's a great example of a man who was remarkably powerful and remarkably effective, and how choosing the wrong woman
Mhm. Can be detrimental
brought
to
him
you.
all the way down to as low as he could be until he's blinded.
Yep.
And now ultimately it's a redemption story, right? He
Yeah,
he
right.
he
He
comes through in the end.
sacrificed himself to take out a bunch
Right.
more enemies. Yeah,
So redemption is always there.
yeah.
But man, it's important to pick the right girl.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
And also how tempting
Oh my
a bad
gosh.
woman is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not I'm paraphrasing. It's like her lips drip honey
Mhm.
to the ears, right?
Right.
It's tempting, bro.
100%.
But you have to be able to. I've heard lust described as like, listen, you have to escape because the more you try and resist it, it's
Right.
hard.
Yeah.
Got to escape,
That's a
right?
good one to get away from. Yeah, you're
Oh
right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Psalms 31, obviously.
Sure.
Proverbs 31.
Right.
Proverbs 31
Yep.
talks about a godly woman, right? But you're absolutely right. Like, which is another thing I am thinking more about as I grow in age, right?
Mhm.
Is finding a good woman, but also learning things from the girls that I go out with or
Yeah.
be around or whatever.
Well, so and here's the thing, and this is something that's really important, and we're chasing a rabbit. I wanna get back to
Yeah,
our
yeah.
deal, but it
Right.
is important
Won't stay on this too long.
that you don't eliminate a girl from contention
Mhm.
because she has a past.
Okay. I was thinking this when we were having our last conversation about, the mindset
Uh-huh.
of the church and the shame. People's mindset of like of not going out with a girl or not going out with a guy because of the mistakes they've made in the past or
Mhm.
whatever. Now you're just judging them based off things that they may not like about themselves either.
They may regret
They
that
may
decision
regret
or
that
whatever, yeah.
decision. Yeah, and I get, like, it is absolutely important to be careful about,
Sure.
who you choose to spend your time with, but meeting people at least, don't don't count people out because of a past
Right.
or reputation or whatever,
Whatever.
because you don't know them.
That's right.
You haven't met them. You haven't talked to them.
Yep.
They may be way cooler than the uppity,
Mhm.
perfect example of,
Right, of
whatever
purity or
purity,
whatever, right.
right, and they may be way more fun too.
Yeah, you miss out
Like,
on an
you
opportunity
miss
there.
out on just great people, great experiences
Right.
if you just have a closed mindset of like, "Oh, I've heard this and this and this,"
Yeah.
or "This
Yeah.
person said this better."
Or
Who cares? Go
right.
talk to her.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that stuff's true. Maybe, you don't have to go out with everyone for so long,
Right.
but
But
taking them out
but, yeah, eliminating them from the realm of possibility because of things you've heard about them
stupid, dude.
is a silly thing.
Ridiculous. So
So pulling us back a little bit on
right.
track.
That was our spiel on
That's okay.
stuff. Yeah.
So do you think your generation is your generation aware that we are a country in conflict with itself, or are they not?
Majority is not aware of that fact.
Okay.
There are some that I know, um, who do know and are aware and, vocal on either side of the spectrum, right?
Mhm.
Majority don't know it and don't care. Talk
Okay.
about the apathy, right? And I think that's just because it doesn't it is yet to affect them personally in a big way.
Okay.
The split between a country divided, right?
Right.
And because of that, it doesn't affect their day-to-day life. It doesn't
Right.
affect whatever. They're like, okay, whatever.
Mhm.
That's mom and dad's problem."
Mhm.
That mindset is like,
It's a little scary.
you think about that a little
Yeah,
more.
right.
And and I think there's something to be said about you have to learn to think for yourself so that you don't just rely on mom and dad.
Mhm.
I think it's the mom and dad, and I think you guys have done a great job with me and Wyatt of stewarding us
Mhm.
to know truth from non-truths, to know
Mhm.
good versus evil, but also to think for ourselves
Mhm.
and to be aware of important things,
Yeah.
um, that may be outside of our day-to-day life, right?
Mhm.
I think you guys have done a great job of that. I think too many people in my generation have been raised as the iPad kids or whatever,
Mhm.
or have been just given everything
Mhm.
in the world,
Sure.
and it's made them soft.
Soft.
It's made them soft
Right.
and reliant upon mom and dad, and with that becomes it comes with the the issues of the world, the
Mhm.
issues of the country, the issues of
Sure.
whatever.
There's a sense of
Just
entitlement, like,
sure,
just, you know.
but the issues that like you talked about the country divided. I think people don't think about it because that's not something they have to deal with. It doesn't affect any of their thoughts
Mhm.
because what they're thinking about is whatever stuff that's day to day, kind of
Mhm.
stupid,
Right,
whatever.
whatever.
There's not a whole lot of like, oh crap, the country's divided. I'm about to turn 18.
Like, it's about to be my thing. This is
About to
about
be
to
my
be my
thing.
problem, right.
Right.
So, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Cool.
If you if you get a sentence, maybe 2, if you could say anything to to young men in your situation, not in your situation, you in your generation,
Hmm.
right? If every 17, almost 18-year-old guy in America was gonna watch this, what's the one thing you would say?
I would say, first and foremost, learn about Christ,
Mhm.
cultivate a relationship with Him.
Mhm.
And secondly, spend at least some time thinking about the life that you will live as a grown man and what you want it to look like.
Mhm.
If you do those two things, I believe it will be a little bit of a shock of like, oh, there are things I need to be doing now.
Mhm.
Physical capability,
Right.
right? Becoming dangerous, be able to protect
Yeah.
your future family.
Right.
And biblically, if you study the life of Christ, if you study the Bible, the Old Testament, New Testament,
Mm,
and cultivate a relationship with God, I believe, if you believe it's true, that you'll realize there's good and there's evil,
mm,
and
mhm.
and it matters what side you're on.
Yep. That's great.
So
That's great.
that's my answer.
All right, cool. So let's play a quick, 5, 6 questions, and then we'll wrap this up,
All right.
right? If you could live anywhere in the United States, where would you want to live?
Okay.
Just answer the question.
Okay. Tetons, Wyoming.
Okay, so it'd be in the mountains.
I love the mountains, dude.
Okay,
Now,
cool.
right there with it is North Texas.
Mhm.
It's flat. Most people think it's ugly.
Right.
But you can get to anywhere fun in like 4
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah, right
and
there.
it's great.
That's cool. I dig it. How do you handle change? Like being a person who, like, I know you well. You plan and you like to have a path. How
Yeah.
do you handle change when change comes, or you think change ought to come? How do you handle it?
For one, I'm trying to get away from planning everything. 'Cause
That's
I've
good.
realized change is inevitable.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
most of the time the plan you have ain't gonna happen. Um, change. You got to be able to learn to prioritize
Mhm.
and value the important things because those things won't change.
Right.
Relationship with God,
Right.
relationship with my family,
Yeah.
my friends,
Yeah.
and my values and things I like to do.
Yeah. Right.
Some of those will get changed.
Yeah,
Not the value,
you'll
but
evolve over
the
time.
things you
Sure.
like to do. Some of those can get changed.
Mhm.
I like to play football. Can't play football anymore.
Right.
Fine. But if you have those priorities straight, everything else is kind of like, okay, it changed, but look, I still have all this. I'm
Mhm.
fine.
Cool.
You know?
All right.
Yeah.
And if you could describe
Mm.
who you want to be for your future wife, how would you describe that person?
Mm. I want to be a man that is capable and incredibly hardworking,
Mm.
true to myself,
Mhm.
my values,
Mhm.
not a fake version of myself,
Right.
and someone who, for her, is a best friend.
I like it.
Is a best friend
Very cool.
because I believe and I've seen that that's a different type of love.
Mhm. Awesome.
So,
Awesome. Well, kid, again, this is a rare gift for a father to be able to, one, sit down and just have a conversation like this, but two, also have a son who brings something to the conversation that we talk about in Apex. And so
father,
I appreciate who you are. Um, and I appreciate you being here doing this. There's not a lot of kids who would be willing to sit down and just answer deep, big questions like this off the cuff with their dad.
dude, I enjoy it.
Well, good. I'm glad.
I've been excited for this all day.
Awesome. Awesome. So, like I said, man, thanks for being here. And I'm super fortunate because I'm going to get to see all the stuff that's ahead for you. So just keep working hard. I'm really proud of you, son.
Thank you, Dad. Love you, man.
Love you too.